Okay, I think that we are ready now. Hi, Michael. Hi, everybody. Do you hear me? Yes, it is perfect. Great. Thank you very much. Okay, cool. Just one moment so that I can sort my stuff here. Okay. Cool. Okay, so today we are going to talk about some general stuff, not connected to specific techniques. Some things will be technical stuff connected to quick goals, but actually we will talk more about different things connected to, I don't know, development, personal development, spiritual development, something like that. This is the main topic that I'm interested in this moment. So how to start? Like some time ago, two of people who worked in my experimental group, basically pretty much at the same time, they asked to work on pretty similar problem. They said something like that they feel that they are stagnating, or that they achieved some kind of plateau in their development, and that they are pretty much oscillating around that same level that they're on. And that was pretty much truth for their work on changes in their material reality or achieving goals, as well as for some kind of personal development or things that they were expecting to improve in themselves. After meditating about that for some time, I realized that I feel pretty much that something like that is true for me too. That I realized that I'm pretty much oscillating on a certain level, and that I'm pretty much the same. My reality is pretty much the same as it was something like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like that. It has some small improvements and things like that, but actually it is pretty much like my development is, I would say, slower than I would expect it. And on the other side, while I was practicing some of new techniques that I created, I realized in one of the processes that something that I was perceiving as my chronicle state, that I felt it was pretty perfect. I felt it was really close to some kind of serenity or peacefulness or something like that. It was, I realized that it is quite possible that it could be significantly better than that. That in a way, I was treating that like something like, okay, I am a void, and a world is a void, and everything is a void. So there is nothing to be really excited about. So it is natural to feel pretty empty, or I don't know, uninterested in the world or something like that. But after some time, I realized that it is that in a way, some kind of small imperfections in my state are going under the radar because of that belief that I'm having or something like that. So because of that, I felt that that it is quite possible that I need to change something in my methodology of how I'm working on myself and the goals that I want to achieve, personal or spiritual goals that I have, or on my material goals, material reality that I have. So, question about after all this is, what does all this have to do with you? So, and instead of answering that question, I would ask you to think about to ask you some questions. And that question, like first question, could be something like, when you were first introduced to techniques of this kind, or when you realized that some of them are really working, when you have first processes that worked, that change your reality or something like that. Didn't you expect that whole world for you will be really different really soon? For me, it was like that. I felt that like that I'm almost Superman or something like that. I had few or many in a short time, many really good processes, and they changed my inner states really quickly. And I was changing myself. I realized that my behavior is different. I'm able to do different things that I wasn't able to do before that. And I really felt that this is something that should end in a really, really perfect state, or not absolutely perfect, but really close to perfect, really soon. But after some time, I also realized that basically it is a development or change of the state really changed, like really slowed a little bit. On the other side, second question that you should maybe ask yourself is, okay, what is happening? Why are you still having some faults and weaknesses, flaws that should have been eliminated a long time ago, or something like that? So, or is your reality, are you achieving goals in your reality, in material world, like effectively or something like that? I really believe that quick goals is, and I was I was told that by many people who are really authorities in that area, that this is a really, really unique system and that it really works. And the question is, why aren't we all like advancing really, really, really quickly, not only in achieving goals, not only in improving your material reality, but actually getting closer and closer to the state of, I don't know, something like perfect happiness, exhilaration, bliss, or something like that? Or why aren't I'm not asking why aren't you all the time in that state, but actually, why aren't you more in that state? Why aren't you closer in different things that you are doing in your lives? Why aren't you much more in that state than you are? If you are like me, maybe you are, maybe you don't have that problem. But actually, I felt that for me, it was a question. And I realized that this is matter of how I'm organized in what kind of methodology I'm using to work on myself. I will make a really small break to take a glass of water or something like that. And after working like that, or after working for some time on trying to solve that whole situation that I described, I came to conclusion that it is pretty much like situation in that area is relatively simple. It is simple in a way that basically you are not using full potential of the techniques that you are practicing. Of course, question is why don't you? And the answer to that is basically based on two different situations in depending on if we're talking about inner states or we're talking about goals in material world. In achieving goals in material world, you are basically not using quick goals in a perfect way, and the basically main responsible person for that is me, because I wasn't using the system as I should have in my case. So it is quite logical that most of people who I thought how to use it didn't use it perfectly as well. Second thing, and this is what we are going to talk first, because this is easier part about technical mistakes about in practicing quick goals and how to resolve them. And after that, we'll talk about what are main reasons why you might not be achieving the same thing in your personal development, or why aren't you much more in that perfect state that we're talking about, state of perfect happiness, exhilaration, bliss, or harmony, or something like that. And I believe that it is quite possible to be much more in that state than you are already. So let's first talk about why aren't you achieving your goals much more effectively with quick goals. The main reason for most people in that area is the main mistake is not using all techniques of the system while you are trying to practice it solo. When you are trying to practice it solo, when you are trying to work on your own, on your goal, using quick goals, you are usually not using all techniques. In most cases, you are going through, you will usually do few processes, you will get yourself in a better emotional state, and after that, you will continue working on your goal as you would normally work on your goals. So basically, you will not complete all the exercises of the quick goal system. If you are listening to what I said, you might be really surprised. This is really strange thing to say something like that. Okay, you have ebook, you have 16 chapters. How come that I'm telling you that most people are not using all elements of the system, but just some parts? And you shouldn't probably be too harsh on yourself because of that. This is not a matter of I don't know, stupidity or laziness or something like that, but actually there are reasons, there are elements that are characteristic for solo practicing, which are pushing you in that way, relatively naturally. If you don't know what is happening, and if you are not consciously dealing with that problem systematically or time after time. So first of the reasons why you might not complete whole set of exercises from quick goals is basically that because of the nature of the processes that you are doing. When you do the process, when you complete successful process, you will change your emotional state naturally. That is natural result of the things that you are doing. This is why you are trying to do that process. That also changes how you perceive your goal, and that in a lot of situations will make it obvious to you how you can achieve your goal, or make it much more obvious, or it will make some of the actions that you can take in material world, that will make them obvious. And in that situation, most people will take some of these actions, especially when they're practicing on their own. And I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do that. You should take actions when you are in that good state. You complete a few nice processes, your emotional state increases or improves, you feel much better about your goal, you have enthusiasm, you take actions in material world. This is exactly what you should do. But what is not so obvious is that in that situation, you will, in most cases, you will stop and leave that whole process of quick goals, or whole sequence of quick goals techniques, uncompleted. So basically, you will just get yourself in a good state, have ideas about what you can do, and you will start taking actions. After that, you will probably go to bed really happy with yourself. You have done nice, you have completed nice processes, you are feeling good, you're feeling enthusiasm about your goal. You feel that it is much easier to achieve your goal. You know how you will achieve your goal, and you feel good about yourself. But in most cases, you will not go back to that sequence, and you will not complete all the things that you should complete. And this is really, really, really problematic, because this is how it happens that you have people who are claiming that they are using quick goals, that they are working in that moment on their goals, but they don't have their best case scenarios and list of actions at all. They don't have them written in at all. But they are working on their goals. If you don't have best case scenario, if you don't have a list of actions, you are not working on your goal. If you pay attention, that really means that you don't know how to achieve your goal. So you don't know, you are not working. You cannot work on your goal if you don't, you are not using quick goals, at least, for achieving that goal. Second reason why you might not complete these exercises is pretty much like similar, but give similar results. It is a time constraints. Sometimes it is really rare that you can devote 2 days or even 1 day or 1 afternoon just for working on your goal. In most cases, it is something like, okay, I started to work in evening on my goal when I completed different things that I had to do today. I'm working for 2 days again. You might have nice processes. You might get yourself in a good shape. You might feel good about your goal. You might have ideas. You might feel that you know how you should achieve your goal. But actually, not completing these things like best case scenario, list of actions is really problematic. It is not only problematic because you didn't formalize all the things that you need to formalize. So basically, you don't have specific formalized set of ideas. This is how I'm going to achieve my goal. But you didn't complete elimination of conflicts connected to that. So if you have noticed, if you practiced a little bit, or if you teach or coach somebody in quick goals, you notice that structure for quick goals is pretty much like if you look the whole sequence, you will have elimination of inner conflicts. Is it possible to fail? Then create goal achievement experience. But immediately after that, you will do 10 fingers process for goal achievement experience. Then you will create next step. You will go more specific. You will create best case scenario. This is how I'm going to achieve my goal. But again, after that, you have exercise in which you are eliminating inner conflict connected to best case scenario. Then creation of list of actions. So in a way, that whole sequence is going more and more specific. But in each step, as you're getting more specific, you are revealing, or you are activating some additional inner conflicts that need to be eliminated. If you don't do that, if you stop on like 2 hours, you started in the evening and you worked for 2 hours, you feel that you worked a lot. You worked 2 hours, you did have some great improvements in your state, you have ideas, you think that you know how to achieve your goal. You feel that you know, and you know. But actually, this is not the same as having best case scenario and list of actions. Of course, there is other side of that. Like it is not only like it is not the only problem, like not completing all exercises, but you have problem which is connected to when you start taking actions. Some of these actions will produce results, some of them will not produce results that you expected. But anyway, in both of these cases, your best case scenario could be compromised. Even in some situations when you have positive when you start taking actions, when you have positive developments, in a lot of cases, it will really increase the number of possibilities and options that you have, because your ideas about how I'm going to achieve my goal at the beginning were ideas which are your product of your brain, or I can maybe even go further and say this is your brain fart. These are things that you thought about your goal. Only when you start taking actions, you see what are really possibilities and options that you have in material world. And because of that, even some of the positive developments will confuse you, or in a lot of situations, they will create confusion. Suddenly you have three possible things. I have in the last few mastermind groups, I have people or few of people who have had problems because suddenly they have too many options. They have 3 or 4 additional options, so I don't know what to do. And suddenly their best case scenario list of actions, if they had it, is not functional anymore. You need to process it, and you need to get it in much better shape, in somehow to resolve confusion that happened because of these things. So in a way, you can say one of the big problems is not completing all exercises, not completing your best case scenario list of actions, elimination inner conflicts connected to best case scenario list of actions. And second part is, once you start taking actions, situation will become a little bit more complex, and you will have confusion in trying to decide how to achieve your goal. In a lot of situations, people then fall down on their basic system, how they achieve their goal, or basic methodology. They will just try to achieve their goal with their initial list of actions and then see what will happen. That is better than not using quick goals at all. But actually, this is not really quick goals. Quick goals methodology is really based on keeping yourself in good shape, or your best case scenario list of actions in a good shape emotionally, so that you feel that it's not possible to fail, and that best case scenario list of actions is 10 out of 10 in rating. Only then you are using quick goals as you should. So when knowing all these things that we said, now it is a moment to talk about conclusion about that, or basically thinking about tips about how to practice quick goals in order to be much more effective in that. So good idea would always be to try to find some kind of partner to co-process each other, if possible. But even if you're not able to do so, there are some things that you should have in mind. So first of the things that you should always have in mind is that you should always try to complete your processing about quick goals, to go through whole system in something like 2 days. If you're not able to complete it in 2 days, then have in mind that you haven't completed it. Because I'm ashamed to say that it happened to me sometimes, or I cannot say often, but it happens, not to complete, not to have. I'm working on my goals. I'm keeping myself in good shape. I'm processing myself every morning. I go to have breakfast in diner, and I process myself there for some time, like before the breakfast and after breakfast. But actually, I'm working on my goal that I didn't create best case scenario and the list of actions. This is not specific. And these are like, you should have in mind that this is really important. Maybe the most important thing about quick goals is having best case scenario and list of actions. So a solution for problem is to try to always complete it in maximum 2 days, or you should try to do it in one afternoon. So start and do and go through all exercises of the system in 1 day or in 1 weekend or something like that. Like if you are participating in quick goal, real life quick goal workshop. A second thing to understand is pretty much the repetition of the last thing that I said. This is importance of best case scenario and list of actions. Know that this is most important thing for achievement of your goal. Once you complete this first going through a quick goal sequence, you will only thing that you need to pay attention after that is taking actions on my side, and on the second thing to do is to keep your best case scenario list of actions in the best possible shape. And that means to keep it in 10 out of 10 rating. If you pay attention to your goal, what is your rating for that goal? It should be 10 out of 10. If it is not, that really means that you unconsciously know there is something wrong in your plan, and you should process that. Processing is really putting your attention on that specific thing, or best case scenario and list of actions. So you will know if you feel that it is not perfect, you unconsciously know that there is something wrong with the plan, and you should process it and resolve it. A result of the process is modification, like you process yourself, you change your inner state. That also gives you cognition about how you should modify your best case scenario list of actions. So after you complete it, first go through all the exercises from quick goals. After that, until the achievement, only thing to pay attention to is taking actions on one side, and second thing about that would be keeping your plan or best case scenario plus list of actions in perfect state. So have always in mind, like one of the things that I added for myself was that basically like once a week I have a reminder from my computer that asks me for the current goal that I'm working on, have I completed all exercises? Did I complete everything or not? Because it happened to me even when I knew that all the things that I said to you, it happened to me that I was aware that I didn't complete, but said, okay, I cannot complete it now, but I will do it next week. But actually, after that, in a lot of situations, it just goes further and further in the future, and you never do that. Okay, this is it about quick goals. But actually, so takeaways are: pay special attention to if you completed whole exercises or not. Pay special attention if you have best case scenario list of actions. Pay attention if you clear them or of conflicts. Did you eliminate? Have you eliminated conflicts that are connected to best case scenario list of actions? And after that, try to use that plan for individual practice. I created the new one. It is not completed. It was completed, but I realized that this is basically new version, but is not perfect. So I will make it available basically in the next few days, or next 2 days. I will send you new version of plan, because that plan really covers all important elements. It checks all the boxes that you have to check for practicing quick goals. It really means that, like, it takes care of taking action in the material world. It takes care of keeping your best case scenario and list of actions in perfect state. And this is really only thing that is really important about that. Okay, how about that second part? How about what is happening and why are some things connected to our to our inner states are not developing as fast as they should, or why are we on some plateau about that? Okay, if you have any questions, you can put them in chat, and I will later look at them. I will make a small break, so I will be able to check what are questions there or something like that. And if I'm not able to answer all of them, I will probably make some kind of file that I will send you some with answers. So you can ask questions in chat. Okay, so in order to get yourself in more in that perfect state of perfect harmony, or basically bliss or happiness, why is that? Why does it is not? Why that doesn't develop as you should, as you could have expected? The main reason for that is that basically things that are blocking you in your development are so common to you, or basically you are so accustomed to them that you don't treat them and you don't perceive them as problem, but as you can perceive them as characteristic of the life, characteristic of the universe. Basically, you have beliefs that are telling you that this is only way that it could be. So, and because of that, you are not processing these things. Example, like a few years ago, I realized that I am really procrastinating when I am starting to work on, for example, on scheduling my workshop or new program or something like that. When I prepare myself to start I don't know, advertising or something like that, I am really procrastinating. I am waiting for the last possible moment to start doing things like that. What I didn't notice was that whenever I am starting to work, I was doing that in a state which is something like determination, or having myself under control, not to be lazy, or in order to not to make mistakes, and not to miss some things. And it wasn't a really problematic emotional state, and because of that, it was really easy to miss it. After I completed process and worked on that, after sometimes like 2 days later, I realized, okay, but this is the same internal state, the same emotional state that I worked on everything in my life. So basically, like, I am practicing these systems from 1991. Seriously, I started seriously practicing and coaching people in 1991. And I was working really a lot. I was processing myself. This is the thing that I have done most in my life, is processing, doing processes with me as a client. But that thing, like how I feel when I start working, that went unnoticed for, I don't know, this is how many years? This is more than 30 years. And I didn't notice that. Like, if you pay attention, this is that whole mechanism is not really strange. It was something like, this is not really unpleasant emotion that I'm experiencing. This is a little bit unoptimal, but not problematic. In a way, it was relatively successful behavior. I was able to achieve my goals. I felt something like, okay, this is a result of something like, the work isn't supposed to be pleasurable, or something like that. It is something like that. Like, this is how I am used to work. Like, I'm used to working like that. This is normal thing how you work. So the main reason why some of the things that, or the main reason why you are not getting closer and closer to really perfect emotional states, to that state of, I don't know, absolute bliss or perfect state, best possible state that a human can experience. The main reason why you are not getting there is that you are not perceiving these things that are blocking you in regard to that as problems. And because of that, you are not processing them. You are staying in a state that feels natural and normal for you. You got yourself to the state. You eliminated things that were unpleasurable, unpleasant enough. Things that are unpleasant enough, you eliminated them, and you got yourself in the state that you consider to be normal state for you. And because of that, you are not going anywhere further. Like you're not trying to get yourself in a state in which you would be in amazing state, or like I define it now like the best state that you can ever experience. Are you in the best state that you can ever experience or not? If you are not, then there is something to process. There is something, and there is a lot to process. And I'm not like, maybe you shouldn't expect, when you start doing this, you shouldn't expect, okay, now I'm doing that and I should be in perfect, I should be absolutely absolutely enlightened person, like in the state of absolute enlightenment or something like that, in satori, or I don't know, state of right. Okay, cool. So, but actually, just thinking about what is happening with why aren't you, what are you experiencing instead of that, then you will find really, really interesting things that you should process that are not so high, that you don't have to go really high to find things that are not really perfect. So, so solution for that second part about how to continue, how to break through your plateau, is to ask yourself really, in both of these areas, about emotional state and about material goals, to ask yourself questions about really, really, really perfect states. So this could be something like, am I in a state of absolute enlightenment? Am I a perfect human being? Are my behaviors 10 out of 10 or absolutely perfect all the time? Do I 100% behave like a person I would choose to be? Am I experiencing state of, I don't know, perfect emotional happiness, harmony, and serenity all the time in my life? When you ask yourself these questions, you will find some things that are there all the time. They are all the time and you are treating them as normal. Because of some of beliefs that you are having, you are not going further, and you are not even considering going further. Okay. After that, you can ask yourself, okay, what to do with that? And you should, of course, eliminate that. You should process it. You should use techniques that you are using, and you can use, I don't know, a deep beat. You can use some of the techniques I shared with 10 fingers process about that. You can do aspectics or different, any technique that is able to eliminate your problematic state, that you practice yourself, that you're comfortable with. But I would say that maybe it is even better to try to use some really, really simple techniques, but to use them systematically, or basically to use them every day or a few days in a row for some problematic things that you are experiencing. For example, you can use 10 fingers process for that, but use it day after day. In a lot of situations, you will have really, really deep improvements in your behaviors if you are processing with really simple techniques, that could be, I don't know, shallow pit, that could be 10 fingers process, that could be, I don't know, TUTS or EMT, like short EMT, you don't have to go too deep for that. Any process that is really, really simple to do, but that you can do like day after day. What is not so obvious in that situation is that when you are doing that on the same topic day after day, you are getting deeper and deeper, like you are doing a deep process. And because of that, you are having, after a few days, or 3, 4, 5 days, you will have improvements like from a really, really deep process, but actually application is much, much, much more simple because of that. So I would, my methodological solution for that situation is that when you notice some really problematic thing that you are so identified with that you don't recognize it, don't identify it as a problem at all, then you should do something like simple everyday process until it is resolved in 4 or 5 or 3 days or something like that. For example, I have a client that I work with, and the thing that we found was he is really uncomfortable when he needs to ask money for for his work. And it's a problem for him because he is working like as a freelancer, and he's having these kind of interactions all the time. And he's all the time without money. He has problem with that and situation is like, so basically his problem is inability to ask for money, or feeling really uncomfortable when I'm asking for money. And that could be something that it is problem. And okay, for some of you know that, some of you don't know that, but actually you can use 10 fingers process as easy process to deal with any problematic state. So usually in when we are using it in a quick goal, 10 fingers process is working with is it possible to fail on one hand, on the right hand, left hand is possible to fail. Like it's possible to fail because barrier that you find, and on the right hand it is although that barrier exists, I still want my goal. What is not so obvious is that actually this is just working with two polarities. One of the polarity is withdrawal from your goal because of barrier that you notice, and on the right hand you have polarity which is although that barrier exists, I still want my goal. So basically, because for goal, you know what is really, really problematic. A really problematic state that you might have about your goal is withdrawing from your goal because some of the barriers. And positive state that you know that you want is I still want my goal, although that barrier exists. And this is why that process seems like really, really specific process and is connected to the goals. But you can use 10 fingers also with any other pair of polarities, and it will work equally well. So, for example, if my set of polarities is left hand, I cannot ask. I'm really uncomfortable when I need to ask for money for my work. Then that would be left hand. Right hand would be, what would you like to have instead of that? The right hand would be, I feel comfortable and relaxed, and I know that I have done really, really good work, and that my client will be absolutely satisfied with what I've done. So when you do that with 10 fingers, you will have that process, and it would be a really, really, really simple process. But if you make that some kind of a regular thing that you will do for a few days, this week I'm working on that. I realized in the process that I was doing, I realized this is a problem, and now I'm going to do for 3 or 5 days that. This week is devoted to that problem. You will notice that this process will go deeper and deeper every day. if you are doing it regularly, it will behave like a really deep process, because once you eliminate conflict, for example, that first state, left hand, I am uncomfortable, this is problematic emotion, right hand, I would like to be relaxed and feel good while I'm doing that. Next day, you will have some kind of new equilibrium in your mind that is connected to that area, because one level of the problem disappeared. Tomorrow it will go deeper, and tomorrow you will find something like maybe some kind of doubt if that person is satisfied with what I have done or not, and then your next pair of polarity would be left hand, I am anxious if a person is satisfied. On the right hand, I know that I have done perfectly everything that I needed to do, something like that. On the third day, you will go still deeper, and after that, you will have real resolution of that whole problem and situation. So what I wanted to say is that once you have noticed some of the things that are really chronic for you, it might be a really easy way to deal with them could be this that I described. So really, really simple process. In that way, when you are doing process, you cannot make mistake. It is so simple that really you don't need any technical prowess and really high competence about processing yourself. You just need to do that regularly until your problem is resolved, or your problematic behavior is resolved, or your problematic feeling that you have is resolved, or something that okay. So this is it. This would be a solution for that. Okay. Conclusion. Okay, so conclusion here is you, like the problem that I described at the beginning, like your stagnation or staying on certain plateau in your personal development is in most cases based on the fact that you have found yourself on a level on which you believe that it is normal for you. Not only normal for you, but actually, in most cases, you have some beliefs connected to that tells you that a situation couldn't be any other way. So, for example, in example that I was talking about my work, when I was working, like that problematic feeling that I had when I was working, this is normal for me. This is how I believe, or this is not only believe, but this is how working feels. I thought, okay, this is how working feels. This is reality. In material world, I shouldn't expect to really enjoy working. These are things that you need to do in material world to get certain results. This caused some kind of little bit of being uncomfortable, and that belief really made me really, like 30 years of my life were like wasted in a way that I didn't feel really perfectly when I am working. Situation is pretty much the same with everything that is chronic and unstable in that way for you. Solution for that, like that emotional part, solution is set your sights about when you're checking what you are going to process, make ridiculously high standard, or basically high criteria for experiences. Like, am I in a state of absolute enlightenment, or am I experiencing perfect harmony or absolute bliss? And then whatever you find, then process it, and then continue doing that, because you will notice that once, like, first few processes that you do will be relatively significant and might have a little bit to really process. But actually, second and third level, you will notice that they are going faster and faster, and you're getting it in much better states, much faster than at the beginning. Okay, do I have anything else to say about this? Okay, technical points about quick goals. We already said that. Technical parts about this, like only really big technical takeaway from here is to create really ridiculously high criteria when you are trying to find what need to be processed. And second technical thing there is a really easy way to deal with that is to try to do a really simple process as 10 fingers for that problematic behavior that you noticed, but to do it regularly, like day after day. Okay, this is everything that I had about that. Let me check if we have some questions. No, like there, like I also, like I am starting to practice different ideas about this. I created a new program for working in this way. This would be basically covering two different things. On one side, we will work on regularly going into that perfect state, like, and on second side will be, because it has to be there, we will work on okay, or we will have to second thing would be, okay, working on the goals, because if you really want to be in harmony with yourself, you really cannot not control in some way material reality. So basically we have to deal with both of these things, like we described here. And this is what we are going to do in that program. Program will be 1 year program. It will be bi-weekly, like meetings will be bi-weekly. We will also have individual meetings every month with each of participants, and the rest of the communication will be with mail, getting yeah, like communication, consultations and things like that. Okay, let's see if we have some of the questions. Would you please give just one moment, so I don't have my chat open here. Here it is. Okay. Joy said, can you please give us complete example of finding the things which need to be processed after setting the ridiculously high standard? Okay, that would be like, okay, if I'm checking something like, am I a perfect human being? Perfect human being. Like if I pay attention to that, I would say, no, I'm not. I'm not a perfect human being. Why? Because I am not motivated enough. I'm not ambitious. I feel that everything basically I'm making all the things in my mind relative, and because of that I'm not motivated for achievement of goals. And I lack energy, or I will feel something like I lack ambitious. I lack ambition, and I'm lacking energy. So when you look at that, next thing to do will be okay, go deeper into I am not motivated. Like when I think about why I'm not motivated, next thing would be how I'm not motivated. I'm not motivated in that way. I feel that nothing really that everything is pretty meaningless. That whole life is meaningless in a way. So, okay, if you notice that, you will see that I don't have to go any deeper in that example, like, because just the fact that I feel that everything is meaningless, this is really a problem. This will, if you pay attention, this will influence my whole life on dozens on different levels, and it needs to be processed. It is yeah, so I would say this is example that you would like to have, and because of that, for example, I would say I can do some fancy process on that, but actually a really good process for that would be okay, left hand, everything in life, like life by itself is meaningless. Inhale, exhale, right hand, what would you rather experience? In this moment, like other polarity for that, for me, is I would like to have feeling that everything might be meaningless, but that I enjoy in everything that I choose to do in material world. Okay, I'm living in material world, so let's keep myself in optimal state. Let's process myself so that every activity that I'm having is perfect. And that is, in this moment, this is really satisfactory for me. Like inhale, exhale, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, we'll get something like tomorrow when I try to do the same process, it will be a little bit different. Either I will not feel anything about it, probably not. This is too deep, for example, for if you pay attention, life is meaningless, but it will not be exactly the same. Tomorrow, I will get different set of polarities, or a little bit different than before that, and it will get, like in a day or two, it will get better and better, and probably few days after that, I will not have anything to do with that. After that, I should again check what is happening with am I a perfect person or not? First, I will check what is happening with answer that I got. I'm not ambitious, or I'm not motivated. What is happening with that? And then I will see if there is anything else other than life is meaningless connected to that. But it doesn't seem like that. That one about life seems like a big part of that. But actually, you always want to complete all cycles that you opened in your process. So basically, you would like to finish, like you need to complete all the things that you opened. Okay. Okay. Is there? Okay, there is one new message. Thank you. Okay, that's from Joy. Okay, I don't have anything else. Okay, maybe let me just see what needs to happen here. I also created a material. Like Joy's question is, when will you send more information about new program? Like I created material for about all these things that I talk here, probably more because I probably forgot to cover something here. But so I will send PDF material about what I was talking here after we finish tonight, this evening. I will send you, and in that PDF at the end you have a small note about new program and link to the small web page that I created about the program. It is really short. It is based on the things that we were talking here. So in that, I will send to everybody on that list these materials, that PDF material. So okay, is there? I'm not quite sure that I'm able to get where I want with the Zoom. Just one thing like this. Okay, chat here, participants. If some of you have questions, you may maybe send me a sign so that I can unmute you. I muted everybody because there is a lot of people, so I didn't want to have technical problems. If you have questions, you may send me like hi or something like that if you want. Okay, cool. Okay, these are things that I wanted to say about that. I probably forgot something, but you have everything and more in PDF that I created. Also, I will send the recording of the whole. Milka, okay. Could you please tell us more about the program structure? You've mentioned that it should be a year. Yes, it is like okay. Program is 1 year program. It is bi-weekly meetings. So basically, every other Saturday we will meet each other to practice. And in this meeting, these are not theoretical meetings, but these are meetings in which we will process ourselves. Mostly, we will do two things parallelly. We will do few processes to get ourselves into that optimal state. I have created one new technique which I really think that is really good in something, and this is what we are going to use to get ourselves into that optimal state. This will be first half of the meeting. The second half of the meeting will be working on material goals. It is me as a creator of quick goals, this is something that I like doing, but actually this is really, I believe, important. This is also important. You really cannot be in harmony with your whole reality if you are not able to deal with material universe, or if you're not able to create a reality that you want in material universe, or basically to achieve your goals there. So we will define really important life goals for each of you, and we will work parallelly on that in this meeting. So basically, first half of the meeting will be getting yourself not trying, but getting into that the best state that you can imagine, or basically perfect state that you feel that human being can experience in this moment. Like we said, really high criteria. Then we'll process ourselves to get there, and second part will be work on goals. In the meantime, we will have that individual meetings every month with me, that I will basically help you whatever you need help in between these meetings, and you will have reminders, homeworks, and things like that by email. This is all I have to say about program. Okay, cool. Okay. I don't have anything else. If somebody has something to ask, we can unmute you so you can ask or say. You don't have, it doesn't have to be question. If you have anything to say or share, maybe your experience connected to what I was talking about, because I was just talking in this way, didn't listen to none of you. What about harmony with yourself? It cannot continue some materiality. Just one moment. Peter, can you talk more about that? About that, to be in harmony with yourself, you can continue in some way material. Yeah, like, okay, I thought that this is like Peter asked, can you talk more about that statement that I said? This is to be in really harmony with yourself. You cannot. You have to be. Maybe I wasn't clear. Maybe I was talking too fast or something like that. My statement was like, to be in a really harmony with yourself, like spiritually and emotionally, you need to be in harmony with material universe too. If you are continuing to live in material universe, if you went to monastery, you went to Zen monastery, and you're living in Zen monastery, you don't have to think about achieving material goals and techniques for achieving material goals. But actually, if you continue to live in the normal world with other people, and you will naturally have some things that you will have to achieve in material world, and in order to be in harmony with yourself. And this is what I meant, Peter. So this was just some kind of expansion on why we really cannot just work on that, like working just on emotional states. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Okay. I don't have anything else. If you have questions, of course, I will answer even email questions or something like that. If you have something to ask. I don't know. This is it then for today. If you want us to, we can. Okay, cool. Like, I'm glad that you liked it. Thank you, Željko. Cool. Okay. Okay. Then I don't have any signs from anybody of the participants. So we are pretty much at the end for tonight. Like I said, I'm sending you these PDFs with that whole talk or whatever, and I'm sending you links to recording of the video so that you can rewatch it whenever you want. So I have one more message. I haven't received the course online. To Luis, if you haven't received, I will send it to you right away. I probably have you in this database. Luis said, I haven't received the course online. I will check what you purchased, Luis, and I will send it to you right away, just like in the moment when we complete this, when we finish this lecture. Okay, so this is it for tonight. Thank you all for coming. Have a good time trying to put this in practice, I hope. Or if you have some ideas, realizations, or cognitions, let me know. If you use some of that and you want to share results, also let me know. I would really like to know that. Okay, this is it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.